This is the Boeing ticker symbol BA 1 month overview reading for September 2022. It's currently August 23rd, 2022, 9:53 p.m. Eastern Time. So the overall theme and behavior for Boeing throughout the month of September is going to be 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level. On the third cross, there's the confirmation of a bullish trend. Looks like there's a big movement, a big price move towards the very end of the month, towards a high near the very end of the month. The behavior on the month's high, there's going to be multiple headwinds pushing Boeing lower, and it looks like we have I'm advised to open up protection around a high on the 8th or 9th. Looks like probably on the 8th. Behavior around the month's low. There's a rally out of the month's low that increases with the momentum moving out of the low, and there's actually a breakout at one point out of the month's low. All right, so on the first, we have sideways rotation along a support level, along a key support level on a multi-day chart. That rotation increases with bullish sentiment as we move forward into the day. On the second, we have what appears to be a drop from a crest, possibly at the end of the day there. Well, there's a drop on the second to a support level on a one-day chart, and then through that support level, and then back to use that support level as a support. Then we have off on the 5th. On the 6th, there's sideways fluctuations. There's sideways price swings with a slight bullish trend. There's also a breakout there on the 6th, and we have a correlation to the price level that we crisscross through. So we likely see that price level here on the 6th. There's one local low, so on a one-day chart for the 6th, we'll see one local low, and out of that low, there's a rally along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance to meet a secondary resistance before pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. On the 7th, we have a move higher through a key resistance level on a multi-day chart. We stay above it briefly, and then we break back down through that same price level. Likely a peak here on the 7th or 8th in the midst of a breakout. So probably on the 8th, there's a breakout to reach for a distant resistance level, and it's a breakout on a one-day chart to reach for a distant resistance level on a multi-day chart. And it looks like we also have a low, a month's low, within close proximity of the 8th. Maybe there's a drop off like a cliff on the 9th. We do see that price level again. So when we see the Queen of Wands price, when we see the Virtue card, it's 3 crisscrosses, but it's like it's kind of like the reverse of the Queen of Cups. We have a move higher, then a move lower, then a move higher again. And when we move through the price level that third time, and we're moving higher through it, we confirm a bullish trend. So it looks like this is likely a downturn here through that same price level. So this would be the second time we cross through it, end of a bullish trend. It would make sense because after this comes the day after we're advised to open up protection in the midst of a big move to the upside. So there's likely a pretty notable drop here. On the 12th, likely even a drop on the 12th, like over the weekend. And we have on the 12th, we have volatility that offers an opportunity to position oneself for both directions by opening up a straddle or a strangle, or covering a long position, long shares with like a puts. There's a lot of volatility there, and generally when you see the Princess of Swords, it's a price point to notate, because there'll be a higher point and a lower point for it, price points within the time frame of the reading. So in this case, within the time frame of September. There's also 3 local highs. So on a one-day chart for the 12th, we'll see 3 prominent highs stand out. There's 1 local low, so 1 prominent low will stand out. And there's also what appears to be a day trade opportunity with two day trades there. So likely putting on that straddle or that strangle in 2 legs, 2 separate legs. We have a notable move to a crest here towards the end of the day. And okay, so as far as the local lows, one of those local lows, there's a dip in a period of sideways rotation. There's a dip that stands out on a one-day chart in the midst of a period of sideways rotation along a key support level on a one-day chart. There's also one of the highest forms when we have selling from overbought territory on RSI. There's a selling from that crest that's overbought, and then the other high, there's a fake out there. So likely making it look like we're going higher. Either that or making it look like we're not going higher, and that would be the case if it comes to be the first of the 3 highs. In the local low, we have out of the low on a one-day chart. There's a rally along a diagonal trend line breaking through horizontal resistance, meeting secondary resistance, and then pulling back to somewhere between those 2 price levels. We also have those 2 trade opportunities. One involves a notable dip on a one-day chart. It'll stand out. Actually, both of them. One of them, it seems, will be in the midst of some bearish price swings. On the 13th, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance that we expect to break through. And then we turn around and we break down through key support. This is on a multi-day chart. There's also a trade opportunity here to open up a swing trade in the midst of a notable move to the upside, pushing the upper end of a range. So based on it being the disappointment card, likely when we push the upper end of a range there, it's only temporary. That's an opportunity to open up a position or a short position. And then we decline through key support after that. It looks like we'd sell that position in the midst of a decline on the 14th. There's a sideways rotation along support level on a multi-day chart on the 14th. We rise to the nearest resistance on a multi-day chart, and then we return back down to that same price level that we were rotating along as support originally. There's 2 local highs there on the 14th. One of those will form when there's a sharp dip out of a sideways period of sideways rotation. The other local high is a fake out, an intentional fake out intended to create impulsive decisions that are wrong. Yeah, that trade opportunity to close a swing trade, excuse me, it involves a notable decline on a one-day chart. We come to a month's trough here, a prominent trough or a prominent low here. So we go from a month's high around the 7th or 8th to low on probably the end of the 9th or the 12th, and then even lower on the 15th. In the midst of a U-shaped dip that forms between 2 perpendicular diagonal trend lines. On the 16th, we hit a month's low. It looks like that's the month's low. There's a swing trade opportunity. There's a local low on a one-day chart. We see 1 prominent low. We see 1 prominent high. And there's also a correlation to the crossing card here, which is a big move higher that'll stand out on a multi-day chart. On a 1-month chart, really, it'll stand out. So on the 16th, what happens is I think we probably open up lower. There's a notable gap down overnight on the 15th to the 16th. In that local low, we have a big move to the upside out of it. There's a breakout to reach the one local high that we see there on the 16th, and the trade opportunity involves a big move to the upside that stands out on a one-day chart. So that's also an opportunity there. It looks like usually the Ace of Wands is an opportunity to open up a short position, but in the case of this reading, it doesn't really seem that way. It's more like we have opportunity. It appears to me like we have an opportunity early in the day to open up a position before we move to the upside, to open up a position in the midst of a gap down or low early in the day. On the 19th, we have a fast sudden move to the upside. It'll stand out on a multi-day chart. On a one-day chart, there's a there's one local low, and out of that local low there's a move all the way from the bottom of a range to the top of a range on a one-day chart. We hit a significant resistance on the 19th, and there's a cash out opportunity there. On the 20th, we have sideways rotational on key support on a multi-day chart. There's 2 local highs, so on a one-day chart for the 20th, we'll see a fake out near one of the highs, an intentional shakeout or fake out, and then to form the other high, there'll be a breakout to move into it. There's one swing trade opportunity, so it looks like to close out of the trade that we saw on the 16th. And we do so. Okay, so on the 16th, in the midst of that move to the upside, we do want to open up a short position. It looks like we have an opportunity to close that position in the midst. Excuse me. In the midst of a notable decline on a one-day chart on the 20th. With that sideways rotation on sending out on a support level on a multi-day chart throughout the 20th, there's those 2 local highs. And then on the 21st, I'm advised to be cautious here. We likely have some sort of fake out here. Maybe we have a drop or so. There's something going on here on the 21st, so we need to be careful. I am advised to place a trade. It looks like to open up a position in the midst, a trade involving a big move to the upside that'll stand out on a one-day chart. There's one local low, a prominent low that'll stand out on a one-day chart, and there's a big move out of it, likely a gap down into it. Overnight into it, and then a big move out of it on the 21st. On the 22nd, we have a month's high. So in the midst of some volatility, there's a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of that period of volatility, and that's a fast sudden move higher out of a day's low. We see a month's high here on the 22nd or the 23rd. It looks like there's a drop on the 23rd. There's a drop on the 23rd. A note, like an unexpected move on the 23rd. Is it a drop? It's a move higher followed by a move back down. Yeah, some volatility and likely having to do with Congress or something like that. But something unexpected happens on the 23rd. And there's news over the weekend. On the 26th, there's a decline early in the day, but we have also a breakout on a one-day chart on the 26th. And we bump up along resistance for a notable amount of time throughout the 26th. On the 27th, even in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds, we still move higher, possibly even breaking through a resistance level. Notable rally midday. On the 28th, out of a decline, there's a fast sudden move to the upside, marking the end of that decline. And there's a swing trade opportunity there as well. Looks like to close a trade that was open on the 21st, likely. That swing trade involves a notable move to the downside on a one-day chart. So before we have that big move higher that ends the period of decline, we want to place a trade to close out of a short position we probably made here on the 21st. There's one local high, so one prominent high on the 28th that'll stand out on a one-day chart, and that will have some profit taking from overbought territory on RSI. On the 29th, an unexpected move to the upside. On the 30th, we have a notable reversal on a multi-day chart. It'll stand out. There's one local high on a one-day chart for the 30th. It'll form when we have a sharp dip within a period of sideways rotation. And then there's one local low as well for the 30th. So on a one-day chart, there will be a low that forms when we have a big move out of a decline from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range. Sneak preview for the month of October. We have sideways fluctuations with a bullish trend that precedes a decline, and we should also see another low, either the same low as we had this month or a lower low. That's Boeing for September 2022, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Most importantly, guys, that rule of karma. When you make that money from this reading, take 10% and put it on the side and cut that in half. 5% goes to somebody that isn't expecting it. Pay it forward. Keep the flow going. Keep the abundance flowing through the universe. The other 5%, pay it back. Show some gratitude to the team here at the Investor Profit. Gratitude begets gratitude. And then most importantly, guys, that remaining amount, whatever you do, make sure you do it out of love. I'll see you on the next one, my friends.